I welcome you again to the English Online class from the course book, Unit 3, Section B, Everest Reaction by R.K. Narayan. The writer or author of this story is R.K. Narayan. Okay, this was from Madras. So yesterday I gave you the introduction of a brief introduction about the author. So let's continue the chapter. Okay, so before continuing, I just want to tell you in this story the main character is Thambi, the youngest member of the house, who was just 12 years old, who gave a very surprising news to the elders of the family that Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norway have reached the Mount Everest roof. Okay, and the day on which they reached was May 29, 1953. That the height of Mount Everest was 29,029 feet. Okay, so let's continue this story, dear children. Page number 63. Okay, so when he came with the news, okay, telling the elders that they have conquered, they have reached. So the elders were shocked, and the first thing that came in the mind of the elders, and they asked to the Thambi that from where you got this news. Thambi said that next house he heard the news from the radio. At that time in the previous years, many years back, people were listening. People used to listen to the news. Okay, in radio only. That time TV were people didn't have the TVs, television, or something like that, right? So when he said that next house he have heard the news about this, that they have conquered. So listening to this, the one of the members says that what happened to our radio? What is wrong to our radio? And they also were scolding the Thambi that it was the time for him to study, and why he is roaming, running here and there. Then he said that he was studying from morning just to get refreshed. He went out for some time, and during that time he heard this news of these two reaching on the Mount Everest. Let's continue. I was studying all afternoon and went out only for a moment. I was studying. I was studying. So I over here is Thambi was studying. So I was studying is my past continuous tense. Right? Afternoon went all for a moment. Just for a moment, maybe a 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes he had taken the break. In that break he had heard the news, listening to the radio in the next house. Next house means his neighbor house or his friend house. What is wrong with our own radio? So there comes the questions the same that he went to the other house to listen to what was the problem in the radio of their house. Finding that subject, that means that question which was asked, what is wrong about it, that was unnecessary. That was not important. For the boy, the question was not important. So he twisted, the young man declared, and then what he said, the man who was holding the wrist of his hand, he twisted his tie to remove it. He tries to move from there, and the Everest has been climbed. That all I know. He said that he is not interested in giving the answers to the question that was asked to him, what was wrong to his radio. But he was more interested in telling and declaring that the Everest has been climbed. Means they have reached there. That is more important. But don't be absurd. Absurd means illogical. Okay, out of topic. Cried his elders. His elders were there who sitting on the chair. As you can see in this picture, students, this is the boy Thambi. And these are the elders sitting on the chair. So these students, these people were asking, elders were asking what was wrong to our radio, and he was not interested in giving the answers to them. In fact, he was more interested in telling them that they have reached the mountain that is more important. Who has been telling you cock and bull story? Cock and bull story means this made up story. The elder was thinking that this boy is just making a false story. So he's saying, who's telling you all this nonsense? Who's telling you all these fake stories, which is not true? The boy replied and said, I knew long ago it would be climbed. He says that he knew is my past. Okay, he says that he knew it, the boy knew it, that someday that news will come when this Hillary and Tenzing will reach to the Mount Everest. The elders groaned. Groan means deep, sad sound. Okay, like when you get when we're playing, when we get hurt, or when it pains, when we groan, that sound comes. How could be? How could be? It is impossible. The elders are still not believing the child news. The child came running inside the house and telling them that they have conquered, they have won. They were not believing in, they were not trusting the child. And then they are asking all different type of questions. Who told you? Where you have come to know? And what happened to our radio? Then he was least bothered to give me all these answers. The Thambi was more interested, and he was more happy that that he gave very good news to the member. Tenzing and Hillary have done it. So please underline this line, students, that these are the two person, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing, who reached Mount Everest in the year 1953, May 29, and they climbed the height of the Mount Everest, 29,029 feet. And climbing is not a piece of cake. For climbing this, they had gone through many difficulties, or they have been to this training. Okay, so said the well-informed boy. Well-informed boy means Thambi. Thambi has given the very information news to them. How he was delighted with his own success, and he was delighted, he was happy by giving the news to the members. He added casually, a little bit he added something on that. They also find now that the height of the Everest, and they said now they have reached, these two have reached to the Mount Everest, and now they have know the accurate height of the Mount Everest. In previously, people was just guessing. It might be 1,000 feet, it might be 1,500 feet, or something like that. But now the boy is saying, adding to this, also he said to the members, eldest people of the house, that they also find now, they also found the exact height of the Everest. Okay, that is 29,029 feet. And if all have misjudged, many people over here of his village, okay, that they were all saying, they were guessing the height randomly. It is about 1,000 feet more than what it thought to be. Impossible. Who is putting ideas on your idea? It's like you are saying all stupid things, all no fake news. Who has given you idea? Who is telling you all these things? Cried the elders. Elders were just talking to the child and saying that news that you're giving is not true. How do you know all this, boy? It was only yesterday that we heard a sword was to be given up. He said, how do you all know all these things? Okay, how do you know all these things? And when we heard this, and when we heard about this, it was like something difficult to believe. So let's turn to page number 64. But there it is, said the precocious boy triumphantly. And he says, the boy was behaving more than his age. He was like a matured person, he was behaving. and he's saying that it is a victory for us, for the Hillary and Tenzing. Still, these elder people were not believing the child, that this child has given a news that Tenzing and Edmund Hillary have reached the proof Mount Everest, and they were asking that this may be there might be a fake news, or this might be not a correct news. Even he said that the guess people were guessing the height of the Mount Everest. Hillary and Tenzing now have the accurate correct height of the Mount Everest. The elders took in the news with a sort of gloomy resignation, like they were not happy. Okay, they could not digest. Okay, they thought this news would come in a in a different way. Okay, but coming a news from the child, that was little surprising for them. They thought they thought maybe they will hear this news in the radio by themselves, but this news came from the child's. This was a piece of news for which the world had waited for century or more, and now. So this they were waiting that someone will climb and reach the Mount Everest. But today they got the news, the elders got the news from a small child, Thambi, who was just 12 years old. He gave a news of this, that Tenzing and Edmund Hillary reached the Mount Everest. Instead of arriving in a spectacular manner with a fanfare of trumpets, rolling through Thambi. It means this paragraph says, students, they thought that this news will come something in a very different way, where trumpets and where we'll be having the dance and musics and people coming on to the roadside and they will be declaring the news. But they were shocked. The elders were shocked of the house members that this news came through or reached through them from a child who was having a habitual bringer of news tidbits. Tidbits means giving in a small piece, different news. This boy had the habit of running here and there, collecting the news from of his neighbors, of the nearby, and coming and telling them. But this news was given by Thambi to them. Soon they had to accept it for fact. But at last these elders accept the fact that yes, it is correct, it is true that Tenzing and Hillary have reached the roof, Mount Everest. For the rest of the day, they were banding out expressions such as "caw" and "cool," and two persons agreeing the definition of the expression of their being origin. Now, these people were started discussing of this two elders. Now started discussing and about the Tenzing and Hillary. Right? The reactions were interesting to watch. Somehow there was a general sense of disappointment at the fact that Everest had been conquered. Their reaction means elders' reactions, were interesting to watch somehow. There was a general sense of disappointment of the fact that Everest had been conquered. They were like still a little bit disappointed. They were not satisfied or happy that to accept the fact. Okay, they were little in doubt, little confused. But Thambi gave the accurate news. Thambi gave the correct news, which he heard in the radio next house. But still, they were in the groups. Still, one or two elders still could not believe. And general sense of disappointment. They were disappointed, sad, udas the. It would have been so nice to have left the Everest as an unstable part of Earth. Now they are sad because they thought now that it is not good for human being to go and touch or to reach there. That they don't want that it should be destroyed or something happens to that. So it would be no nice to have left the Everest unstable part of this. Said one. One of them said, "It's not good to think that human beings have conquered everything under the sun." Listen, like under the sun, in this earth, they don't want that everything will be conquered. Let the earth, let the nature be free. He is saying, the one is saying that people are now getting on the nature. They're capturing the nature. So here is it's not good to think that human beings have conquered everything under the sun. It does not. It does a lot of good to the human spirit to feel that there are still many things beyond our reach. Human beings should not become so proud. Yes, he's saying that if we have reached, if they have reached, it should, but should not be like proudness. Because that what happened, it will not good for the human qualities, right? So over here, I'm going to take a pause. I will be stopping over here. Again, I'll explain in the next class. So till then, students, you have to keep reading the chapter. Okay. Again, I will tell you to read any paragraph of this story and make audio file and send it in my WhatsApp so that I can check it. I have received few audio clips yesterday, and I want more students to take interest. Read the passage of any paragraph and send it to me so that I can check your reading skill also. Okay, so you have to write these meanings in your notebook. Okay, once we complete the chapter, then I'll give the notes on this. So thank you and God bless you all.